It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hello and welcome to Alive After Reading. I'm Tim Niederreiter, and with me today is a returning guest, author Miranda Oh. Welcome back, Miranda.
Hey, how's it going? Happy Pizza Day.
Well, or whatever day it is when the listeners shall receive this. Actually, it's usually when this show goes out, it's the day after Pizza Day, but that's a secret. Oh, wait.
I think every day is Pizza Day. Just saying.
I suppose it's Pizza Day somewhere, right?
It's always Pizza Day somewhere in someone's kitchen. Always.
Yeah, and that's a decent state of the world. I mean, honestly, you can look at it. That's a situation I'm comfortable with. You know,
right?
It's good.
Right? I can put myself there too.
So, Miranda, what's for people who have not heard of you perhaps on this show before? Remind everybody who you are and the kind of books you write.
Yeah, for sure. So, you will find my stuff if you type in Chin Up Tits Out. That is the series of my books. Now, I have 2 books out. There's a 3rd book on the way, and they are a wild ride. They're so much fun. They not only take you through a journey of a young woman's kind of realistic, average-ish life, but she has this extraordinary way of getting herself tied into funky situations with extravagant, eccentric, and exotic little twists and turns. So you kind of follow her story, and when life beats her down, she picks herself up, dusts herself off, and throws her chin up and shoulders back and shines through her chest, or otherwise, chin up, tits out, and just confidently goes on with life. And through my books, I wanted to inspire and hopefully pass along the message that, you know what, everybody's got their stuff and life is always going to be messy. But if you make yourself this dedication to, stand yourself up, dust yourself up, chin up, tits out, shoulders back, shine through your chest, hold your head high, stand proud, power poses, whatever the mantra is, whatever you want to call it, just constantly do that. No matter how hard it is, no matter how many times you have to get up and do it over again, never give up on yourself, because it's not going to be bad forever. So you'll be able to find my stuff all over on Amazon, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. And I live smack dab in the middle of Canada, right in Manitoba, and there is like 5 feet of snow everywhere. There's so much snow right now, and I'm sitting on my floor in front of my electric fireplace in a skirt and a gym top, because I refuse to let this winter take over me. And my entire family is celebrating a family vacation in Cuba that I decided not to go to because I had other travel plans. So I'm trying to engulf and embrace the warmth and on my Saturday night. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about my books and where you can find it. So yeah. There we go. Super happy to be here.
Awesome. You skewed the trip to Cuba in favor of going to war with the winter. Not surrendering to the winter. Not leaving that battlefield.
No, I'm not leaving the battlefield. I want to watch that melt. No, not really. I just have a trip planned with a couple of my girlfriends in May. We're going to Vegas for our milestone birthdays. So yeah, that's the typical girl Vegas trip for the 30th birthday. Big 30. So, why not go and have some really great moments that I might not remember? So
just remember, don't give the reptiles any booze.
I will not be anywhere near any reptiles. No way.
Do you know that movie? I just Hunter S. Thompson, the book, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's the reference.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you for connecting that. I have watched that movie, and I just sat there, and I remember the people that I was watching it with were like, "Oh my gosh, they thought it was the funniest thing," and I sat there like, mouth wide open, eyes were dry because I couldn't blink, because I didn't want to miss it, because I couldn't believe what was going on. I'm like, what? Like the whole movie.
Yeah, and that was based on one of his books, which was I believe nonfiction. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
Because he was a journalist. He wasn't like a novelist for the most part. He was a journalist.
Oh yeah,
Just a really gonzo one.
Yeah, like just that story it boggled my mind. It really opened up my mind. The first time I went to Vegas, I was just like, oh my, it was Miranda was 0, Vegas 1. So I'm ready to take it down from a more mature point of view and responsible. We'll see how that goes.
Time for the rematch, Gotta make it the sequel.
I've been practicing, hydrating, all the good stuff, trying to take my body as a temple and all that jazz. So we'll see what the rematch
that kind of takes
like.
us to that kind of takes us to one of the things I wanted to ask you about, which is taking care of yourself, because it's one of my big challenges as both as a writer and just as a person. Because I suffer from depression. I have ADHD. I happen to have Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism, right? So I have a lot of problems that need to be tackled every day, basically. That just every day you got to fight the battle, and that's kind of. But it's hard to keep doing. And of course, writing as my job, it's basically like, okay, this is going to take a lot of effort just to keep it going. And sometimes it's hard to put in that effort, right? I mean, it's sometimes hard to get over all those other hurdles to get to the writing.
Oh God. Yeah. There's a good enough day where you're like, okay, am I getting out of bed today? And then you look at your computer and you're like, I have nothing to write, but I want this day to be over, period. Like, I don't like.
Absolutely. That's a feeling I've had many times.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. It was about 6 years ago. I was diagnosed with PTSD. Kind of went through a traumatic situation where I lost a loved one, and it wasn't the type of loss that one might think. Read the books to find it out. Shh, that's a secret, but not really a secret. But I had lost a loved one abruptly, and I had kind of lost who I was with that. I was in my early 20s, and I was a confident, bright, intelligent person that loved to network and loved to be out in public and meet new people and, conquer whatever kind of was in my whatever path I was going down. And then as soon as I lost that partner, I was lost. There was nothing left of me. There was a shell of what was left of me. And the physical pain that came after that was horrendous. And it required a lot of work that I had to do and that my family and friends had to do to kind of help me get back on the road of being, just a level human being that was able to go to work and work a shift and then go home and attempt to sleep an 8-hour night and then wake up and do it all again for 5 days in a row, and then try to go out on the weekend without having a panic attack or, having a bad migraine that I will lose consciousness or, throw up somewhere. And it was like, how can I go from standing in front of a room of a couple hundred people and confidently share my message to being rolled up in a ball underneath my office desk and my parents having to peel me off the floor, pick me up and take me to the hospital to figure out what was going on with me. And that was all, again, all in my head. It was all the stuff that had happened that I had bottled up, that I hadn't talked about, that I didn't process, that I just woke up, autopiloted and moved on. And it wasn't until I started writing the books a few years later that I found peace within myself and kind of not only learned to share the message that, hey, you got to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? Because you have to start within in order to go out. and I said it and I shared it and I hurrahed it and I thumped my chest and I, and when people told me that, I nodded and I said, yeah, I agree with you. And when my friends or somebody came and shared any negativity with me, that was what I told them. Man, my series is Chin Up, Tits Out. I eat, breathed, lived it, thinked it, said it, except for when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't say that to myself or believe it for myself. I could say it out loud and share it and tell everybody else that. But internally, there was always this battle that always kept telling me to go, you can do better. You can be stronger. You can be happier. You can be more successful. You can be more. You should have done this. You should have done that. It's the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? And it was always this internal battle that I had with myself. And it really didn't come to fruition. Or maybe it was like, like a pimple that came up and it was just about to pop and then it popped and it burst and it was gross. And that was a weird analogy, but that was kind of what happened when I started writing book 3. It was like, oh, everything's good. I know it's there. I can put makeup on it. It's no big deal. And then it was like, then it exploded on me like out of nowhere. And how it came out was my physical being. I was doing so much. I gotten I have a full-time career. I was writing books. I'm promoting my books. I run Airbnb out of my house and I'm booked 29 out of 30 days of the month all year round with people from all around the world. I'm on the board of directors on my condo. And then I love spending time with my family and my friends. So, and I loved being active. I would go running on my lunch break, training for a marathon. And then I would go to the gym after work or go take my dog for a run and a workout in the park after work. So I was working out and being really active. And then all of a sudden I started getting really bad pelvic pain and back pain. And, it was weird and nobody really knew what was wrong. Well, look at your blood test. Everything looks normal. Okay. Maybe it's stress. I'm like, what do you mean? I have a great job.
Of course, yeah.
I have a great job. I love my guests are wonderful. And the conversation is delightful. And, we would sit on the couch and we would talk about wherever they're from and some country. And, I would giggle at their accent or how their English was a little skewed. And, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, midnight and I have to get up at 6 o'clock and go to work the next day. And then, then that person checks out and then you have to get the room ready and then you got to get clean. It's like, I loved what I was doing, but I was burning my candle at every end possible. And then all of a sudden my body was like, no, you got to stop and you got to rethink this. And I fought it for the last year or so. And I really struggled writing my book because, again, we were talking earlier, it was just, you have enough trouble getting up in the morning, let alone wanting to write something funny or inspirational or positive. I have a little gratitude journal that I write in, and it was every day I write 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 just gibberish things, and 3 goals that I have for the day. Whatever it is, it's to take the garbage out, it's to take the dog for a walk, or it's to just feel accomplished about what I did at my work day today. I don't set myself high goals, but I set myself goals. But there are days where I struggle to write out 3 things that I'm grateful for. And those are the days where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to write this book. I don't know what this self-love crap, psychobabble, anything is. I don't know. And, then again, my physical pain was kind of impeding on my mental imbalance and everything was kind of, I guess I felt like everything was falling apart around me. So I called my big bad therapist. She's a lifesaver. And we talked and I went on and on and on and on and on. And she's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You got a raise and you got a job promotion and you love your job. Yes. You've written your 3rd book. You say you're really proud of it, but it's been difficult. And your 2 first books are doing really well. Yeah. Okay. And you have a significant other that seems to be really delightful. Oh yeah, he's just so delightful. Okay, and you have a good set of family and friends around you. I'm like, oh yeah, it's great. Okay. So you have this pain. And what's the biggest thing? And I told her my biggest thing was, well, I can't even go up my set of stairs from my parkade into my condo without it exhausting me or causing me pain or somehow where I just slow down or could catch my breath. And she's like, okay, well, would you ever tell your mom that, or one of your friends who just had a surgery, or your 90-year-old great grandmother who's struggling to go up the stairs? Would you tell her to go up the stairs, or would you suggest them to take the elevator? Would you suggest to your ex-husband who was sick to take the elevator, or would you force him to take the stairs because that was the healthy, strong thing to do? And my immediate reaction was, oh my gosh. Well, no, I would encourage them to take the elevator because they have to rest and heal in order to be strong. And then she's like, okay, so why are you telling other people? Why are you treating other people better than you're treating yourself? And I sat back and I was like, oh, well, that's why I pay you. Thank you very much for putting that very blatantly. But again, it was the most obvious, blatant thing. And I was like, it's not selfish to take care of myself over others. Taking care of myself is not going to spend frivolously on materialistic things to buy myself happy, because buying yourself happy or buying anybody happy is going to make nobody happy. Okay, it's just going to cause debt, and you're going to have a lot of useless things that you're going to sell for way less than they're worth on the internet afterwards, and it's just going to be big regret. So buying happiness is not happy. It does not result in happiness. So you don't, what taking care of yourself is choosing to go up the elevator when you don't feel good, is choosing to eat the foods that are going to make you feel better versus the greasy foods that you might get bad indigestion or excess, whatever happens if you eat bad food, if your body's sensitive to it. It's like if you're lactose intolerant, well, if you eat cheese, everybody knows that it's going to end up it's going to be
that's not going to be good.
No, it's going to be a situation, right? And I know, like, great cheese is great, but hey, then maybe make that decision when you're, or make a decision, like take a pill before it or something, like do yourself the favor. Be kind to yourself first. Make that choice, because that is just going to end up being so much more positive for you and the ones around you. Now, that was the hardest light bulb that I've had to deal with. And it's a constant daily challenge. I'm not going to say struggle. It's a challenge, because I'm trying to, I look at it optimistically now that the light bulb has gone off, is when the little voice inside my head goes, Miranda, you should be going up the stairs. And I'm like, I look inwards. I have to close my eyes. So I look like a hippie weirdo tree hugger. I don't know. I close my eyes and I feel my body. I'm like, okay, what hurts? Do I have energy? Do I not have energy? Like, can I do this? And if there's any doubt, or if that person inside of me wants me to go up the stairs, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go up the elevator. But because I'm going up the elevator, I'm not going to go up the stairs. I'm not going to eat the bag of chips. I might eat the bag of vegetables, so I'm making all of these choices because I know that these choices in the long run is taking care of me first, and I'm going to get good out of these choices.
Yeah, no, that's really important. I mean, just like making the right decision, but when it comes to writing, especially, I mean, sometimes the right decision is to go easier, but sometimes the right decision is to, push just a tiny bit, get a little more done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The writing aspect is, I can't remember, somebody said it, and it's like some famous person said, bad writing is better than no writing. And
I don't know who said that either, but it's a good line.
it is a good line, and I could totally not take credit for it, but it's so true. And that goes back to like my little daily gratitude thing that I write in, and I draw from that when I write my books constantly, because if I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. So if I wake up and I've had a distinctive dream, I write weird, like, just words down or keywords.
Mm-hmm.
And if I've had a real set of, like, if I've had like 5 bad days in a row and I'm just in a real lull, you know what I do? I just start to flip back. Like, I'll go back to the beginning of the year and I'll just read through the things that made me grateful, or the best parts of my day, or the weird dreams that I had. And that time that I take is a reflection that I'm choosing to do. And that reflection, I find, makes me realize that in the big picture, my pain or my negative, that one little black spot in my big white circle of whatever that my space is. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture. If you draw white, like a big circle on a white paper, and then you draw one black little dot in it, and you're like, stare at that dot. If you stare at that dot, that's the only thing you see. But if you stare at the circle and you see how small that dot is and the size of the circle, it's not that big.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's a
So,
metaphor right there. Yeah.
right, there's and you're, it's like, okay, so stop focusing on the dot and start focusing on the white space, because the white space is all the good stuff. So then I'm like, well, I need something to remind me. Well, I've written 3 things that I'm grateful for every day this year. Well, not every day. I sometimes skip the weekends, but three things I'm grateful for. And it could be, I'm grateful for my electric fireplace, or I'm grateful because my haircut is easy, so I don't have to do anything. I just wash it and brush it, and then I go to work. Like, or I'm grateful for puppy snuggles. Like, it doesn't have to be, I'm grateful for the earth and the moon and the sun and the stars. I mean, some days it could be that, but sometimes those small little mundane things, you see nothing when you write them down. But when you choose to go back and reflect on them, you're like, man, you see how many good things you've collected over a period of time. And I think that's also an important thing to take note, is take time to reflect on yourself and pick out all of the great things that happen in your days. Pick out a great thing in the morning, pick out a great thing in the afternoon. Think about it for a second and then move on. When you do that, the white space gets highlighted a lot more.
Oh, that's a cool technique. I've got to try that. Honestly, I probably need to work more on some of the positivity training, some of the just, taking care of myself just in general, It's something that I've noticed recently. Like today, I actually took the day off of writing, and I wrote. No, I didn't write. I took the day off of writing. I watched some TV and it turned out to be really good. And now I feel like, oh, I could write tomorrow. That's for sure. Like, it fueled me up, It's that kind of thing too.
Yeah. My mom has this analogy when it comes to partners, but it also kind of comes, I always go to life. But my mom's like, well, you just need a good old man to take care of you. No, she doesn't sound like that. She'll kill me if she ever hears that.
Okay, don't suggest your mom listen to this podcast, son.
Right. But she always says that you want to find somebody who fills up your cup being, your gas tank, your fuel of life. That's totally right. But you should have the ability to make the choices to fill up your own cup. You fill up your own cup, and sometimes your cup is going to be over full, and you have all this excess to share with people. And sometimes your cup isn't going to be full, and that's when you draw your energy, like you taking the day off, or you draw the energy from your spouses or your kids or your parents or your friends or loved ones, right? You call them up and say, hey, feeling a little crummy today, or what? You don't even have to tell them that. Hey, why don't you come over for pizza? Come over for pizza. Let's put on a movie, or let's have a game of cards, and, fill your cup up that way. And, and my mom is totally right. It does come down to finding a person in your life to, fill your cup up, that wants to fill your cup up just because, it works for them and it works for you. But your cups for yourselves, you can fill them, rejuvenate them on your own. And it really starts within yourself, I think. And if you can continuously try to challenge yourself, because it's not like you can just wake up and do it. I think is certain humans, either one, don't have any kind of comprehension to tune into themselves, or two, they've been so tuned into others their entire life that tuning into them is just so foreign, right? Turning in is not a common practice. We would rather go to our parents or our friends for advice or help, or seek the internet for information or opinions, where, if we shut all that out and think within our brains how we feel, assess our bodies, our minds, our souls, all of that can kind of bring clarity to how you feel. Once you have your own feeling and your own opinion of how you feel, then you can outsource to the ones that you love for opinions or more knowledge or whatever you need, right? But it all stems from within.
Yeah, and that's wow, I cannot believe it, but this has basically been the entire show, and that's great. But thanks for being on the show, Miranda. Where can people find your work?
You can. I know it flies by with you all the time, man. It's such a joy. You can find me at www.mirandao.com. That's Miranda OH for O. Or you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Miranda O, or Facebook, Miranda O, author, chin up, tits out. I would love to hear from y'all or connect with you. So please share or a follow or a like, and I'll definitely follow you back. Thanks for your time, Timothy. I really enjoyed it, and our chat again was good this time.
Oh, it's been wonderful. And, as for this podcast, as I always say, you can find this show at mentalcellarpublications.com, because sometimes your mind is in the basement. But also, you can find my books at amazon.com. And if you like science fiction and fantasy, give those a try, especially Stormfleet. It's free right now. So thanks for listening, everybody, and talk to you next week.
That tears it.